There is a kind of person you have seen. You cannot explain them fully. They move through the world without urgency. They speak without desperation. They make decisions with a quality of ease that makes everyone around them slightly uncomfortable, because the ease looks like they do not care. But they have everything. Not everything they were supposed to want, everything they actually chose. The business, the financial freedom, the relationships built on depth rather than need, the mornings that belonged to them, the life that was not assembled from compromise, but designed from a place so interior that most people never reach it. You have seen this person, and somewhere beneath the admiration, if you are honest, there is confusion, because you have been working hard, consistently, with genuine intention, and yet the gap between where you are and where that person lives does not seem to be closing. What do they know that you do not? What are they doing or not doing that produces a reality so different from yours that it almost appears to belong to a different law of physics? I am going to tell you, not as motivation, not as inspiration, as a precise, documented, neurologically verified explanation of the mechanism that separates those who effortlessly build wealth from those who exhaust themselves pursuing it. And the answer, the real answer, the one that will sit in your body differently from anything you have ever been told, is not what the world told you to expect. The answer is this: effort, specifically the quality of efforting that most people deploy when something important is at stake, is not the path to wealth. It is the lock on the door. And the key, the precise, neurological, ancient and modern key, is the one thing every system, every culture, every productivity program, and every hustle narrative has taught you to avoid: relaxation. Not the relaxation of laziness, not the relaxation of giving up, the relaxation of a nervous system that has finally understood that it is not in danger. Stay with me, because what I am about to show you will require you to question something you have believed since childhood. And the questioning, uncomfortable as it will be, is the beginning of the freedom that person you have been watching is already living. Let me take you inside your brain for a moment. Not metaphorically, neurologically. At the base of your brain, older than language, older than thought, older than any belief you have consciously chosen, sits a structure called the amygdala. Its function is singular and absolute: detect threat and initiate survival response. It was designed for a world where the threats were physical: predators, starvation, exposure to the elements, dangers that required immediate, maximum effort to survive, and it was extraordinarily effective. But here is the problem that nobody told you when you started learning about success and wealth. The amygdala does not distinguish between a predator at the entrance of a cave and a bank statement that reads less than expected. Both register as threat. Both activate the same response. Both flood your body with cortisol and adrenaline, the stress hormones that narrow your focus, contract your perception, and dedicate every available resource to the single task of survival. This is what Dispenza calls the biological autopilot. The moment your financial situation activates threat, and for most people, the mere thought of money is enough to do this, you enter survival mode. And here is what survival mode actually does to your capacity to build wealth. It shuts down the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for creativity, long-term thinking, pattern recognition, and the capacity to perceive opportunities that exist outside your immediate visual field. It floods the nervous system with chemistry that makes the body experience the present moment as an emergency requiring maximum output. It locks consciousness into the frequency of someone who is fighting to stay alive. And that frequency, that specific, biochemically generated,
body-level frequency of survival, is broadcast continuously into the field of reality that surrounds you. Not as intention, not as a thought, as a signal. The universe does not receive your intentions, it receives your signal. And your signal is not what you think, it is what your nervous system broadcasts 24 hours a day, independent of what you consciously choose to believe. When you are in survival mode, when the amygdala is running the show, your signal is indistinguishable from that of a person who is genuinely in danger. And the law of correspondence, as above, so below, as within, so without, reflects that signal back with perfect, merciless, mathematical precision. More evidence of danger, more circumstances that confirm the threat, more financial situations that seem to require more effort, more urgency, more survival response. The harder you effort, the louder the survival signal, the reality reflects the signal back. This is not a spiritual metaphor. This is a documented neurological feedback loop that has been operating in your life every time you have worked hardest toward the financial reality you most desire. The effort created the signal created the reflection created the need for more effort, and the loop ran and ran and ran until you are here, genuinely trying, genuinely committed, genuinely deserving of a different result, and genuinely confused about why the result has not arrived. Now you know why. But this is only the surface. What I am about to reveal next is where the game truly shifts and where most people collapse the moment they come close to seeing it clearly. Because the survival response is not the deepest layer. It is the symptom. The cause lives somewhere else entirely. And it has a name. Subscribe to Hermetic Mind right now, not as a routine act, as a deliberate commitment to yourself. Every video on this channel exists for one purpose: to give you the precise language for what is actually happening in your consciousness and the precise tools to change it. If you are still here, you are not a casual viewer. You are someone for whom these words are landing somewhere real. Subscribe now, and let that be the first act of what you are becoming. Carl Jung spent 50 years mapping the architecture of the human unconscious, not as philosophy, as cartography. He was drawing a map of a territory that most people live inside without ever knowing it exists. And the most dangerous region on that map he called the shadow. The shadow is not your darkness, that is the simplification. The shadow is every part of yourself that was deemed unacceptable before you had the consciousness to question who was doing the deeming. The ambition that was called arrogance, the desire for more that was called greed, the sense of your own worth that was called presumption, the expectation of abundance that was called entitlement. Every quality that would have allowed you to stand comfortably inside a wealthy identity was at some point in your formation assigned to the shadow, placed in the part of you that must not be expressed, must not be felt, must not be acknowledged. And the shadow, because it was formed before you could consent, does not operate through thought. It operates through pattern. The pattern of almost good but not quite. The pattern of opportunity that arrives and then does not sustain. The pattern of progress that stops at a specific level and will not move past it, no matter how much effort you apply above it. These are not failures of strategy. These are the shadow running its program. The shadow of poverty is not the belief that you are poor. It is the unconscious conviction installed so early, so thoroughly, so completely that a person like you does not get to have that. That wealth belongs to a different category of human. That wanting it too much is dangerous. That arriving at that level would mean becoming someone your family would not recognize, your community would not accept, your early self would not feel safe as. And the effort, the enormous, exhausting, genuinely heroic effort you have been pouring into building your financial life is not separate from the shadow. It is the shadow's most sophisticated expression. Because the effort that comes from fear is not the effort of someone building towards abundance. It is the effort of someone running from poverty. And you cannot run from poverty into abundance, because running from poverty keeps poverty as the dominant image in your consciousness, as the dominant frequency in your nervous system, as the thing your reality is organized around avoiding rather than the thing your reality is organized around being. Jung said it with a precision that has never been improved upon. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct